Hello students, in this video we will learn about the second part of polytrichum, that is reproduction. In polytrichum, reproduction takes place by vegetative as well as the sexual methods. Okay. So what happens in vegetative reproduction? There are two methods by which vegetative reproduction takes place. One is to the formation of protonema. Okay. Now protonema are some filamentous structures which are produced by the germination of spores, and upon those protonema several buds will grow and each bud will develop into a new gametophyte. Second method is through the process of fragmentation. What happens here is that the rhizome will give rise to some erect leafy shoots at certain intervals. Yes, dead or breaking of shoots separates the erect branches, and these branches behave as independent plants. Okay, so the separated dead or breaking of shoots will result in the formation of new gametophytes, and this is known as the process of fragmentation. Now moving on to the sexual reproduction. Polytrichum is dioecious. What is the meaning of dioecious? It means that the male and the female reproductive organs are situated on different plants. The male sexual reproductive organ is known as antheridia and the female one is known as archegonia. Let's first begin with the male one. Here you see in this diagram, okay, this is a diagram of a polytrichum gametophyte. Here you see the antheridia are born in the axillary clusters at the tips of the leafy stems. Okay, this is the first point. They are surrounded by some special kinds of leaves known as perigonial leaves. Okay, they will be surrounded by perigonial leaves, and these leaves will be arranged in a spiral order. The antheridia are produced in groups in the axils of these leaves. So what is the meaning of this axil? Okay, suppose this is the stem and this is the leaf. Okay, the angle between the stem and the leaf is known as axil. Okay, so within the axil of perigonial leaves, antheridia will be produced in groups. Okay, and they will be surrounded by some structures known as paraphyses. You can see in this diagram, this is the antheridial head. It will contain groups of antheridia. These are the antheridia. Okay, groups of antheridia, and these groups are surrounded by some special structures known as paraphyses. These are sterile structures. Okay, what does a mature antheridium look like? It looks like a club-shaped structure. So what is a club-shaped? Club-shaped means having a broad end, okay, at one side and a tapering end at the other side. This is known as club-shaped structure. As you can see here, you can see in this diagram, this is a club-shaped structure. Here the end is broad and this end is tapering or pointed. Okay, it is composed of a short stalk and a club-shaped body. So what do you find here? There is this club-shaped body. Okay, this is a club-shaped body and a short stalk is present here. Jacket is present around the capsule. So this body is known as the capsule here, and it is surrounded by a single layer jacket, as you can see in this diagram. Okay, this is the jacket. Inside the jacket are present androcyte mother cells which give rise to biflagellate sperms. So what is present inside the jacket? You can see in this diagram also, this is an antheridia surrounded by a jacket. Okay, it is having a short stalk, and inside the jacket lies several androcyte mother cells. Okay, and each will give rise to a biflagellate sperm. So this was the structure of antheridia. Now we will study about the development of antheridium. How does the antheridium develops? Okay, now antheridium develops from a special cell known as antheridial initial. Consider this as the antheridial initial cell. Now this antheridial initial cell will undergo a transverse division. Okay, there is a transverse division, and what does it form? It forms an upper antheridial mother cell and a lower primary stalk cell. See this clearly? Okay, there was an antheridial initial. It will undergo transverse division to form upper antheridial mother cell and a lower primary stalk cell. Now we will discuss about the fate of these cells, what will happen to these cells in the future. This primary stalk cell will divide, okay, and it will form few stalk cells. That means it will contribute to the formation of stalk. What happens to the antheridial mother cell? The antheridial mother cell will undergo a division, okay. It will undergo division to form peripheral jacket initials. This is the peripheral jacket initials and a central primary androgonial cell. Can you see here? Okay, antheridial mother cell, it has undergone division to form peripheral jacket initial, okay, and a central primary androgonial cell. Now what will happen? The jacket initials will divide to form a single layered jacket, okay. They will form a single layered jacket, as you can see in this diagram, diagram number 3. This jacket is formed by the peripheral jacket initials. Then the primary androgonial cells divide to form androgonial cells. What will happen to the central primary androgonial cells? They will divide and they will form androgonial cells, okay. Androgonial cells then divide to form androcyte mother cells. These androgonial cells will again divide and they will form androcyte mother cells. This androcyte mother cell, each of them will give rise to two coiled biflagellate sperm. Let us consider this as a sperm, okay, and it will have a two coil structure and it will have two flagella attached to it, okay. So this was the development of antheridium. Now let's move on to the dehiscence of antheridium. Dehiscence means to burst open, okay, to give out. Now the antheridia will always dehisce in the presence of water, as we have already known that in case of Bryophyta, reproduction takes place in presence of water. So here the antheridia will burst open in presence of water. As a result, what will happen? A pore is formed at the apex, okay, and from that pore the sperm mass will be liberated in a mucilaginous form, okay. That will be the dehiscence of antheridium. I think this, up to this, your concept is cleared, okay. So this was what we have studied up to now. Now we will move on to the female reproductive structure, which is the archegonia. So you can see in the diagram given at the left side where this is the archegonial head, okay, just like the previous one where we saw the antheridial head. This is the archegonial head, and archegonial head will contain some archegonia arranged in clusters. Let us see in detail. The flask-shaped archegonia. Remember this. What is the shape of archegonia? Flask-shaped. Now, what was the shape of antheridium? It is club-shaped. Okay, remember this. And these are again born at the apices of leafy stems, just like the antheridium. You can see this leafy stem. Okay, this is the leafy stem, and the archegonia are born at the tips of the leafy stems. Archegonium is surrounded by pericytial leaves. Okay, these archegonia are surrounded by some special leaves known as pericytial leaves, and they will overlap each other and form a bud-like structure. Okay, now archegonia occur in a cluster of 3 to 6. You can see in this diagram where this is the archegonial head. It contains 3 archegonia. Yes or no? So archegonia will always arise in a cluster or a group of 3 to 6 archegonia. Okay, now what is the shape of mature archegonia? It is flask shape. Okay, it has a thick multicellular stalk. So this is the structure of a matured archegonium. This, it will have a multicellular stalk. Okay, and the neck is long and twisted. This is the neck. It is long and it is twisted. Within the neck we find neck canal cells. So here we will find neck canal cells. The neck consists of 6 vertical rows of cells. Neck gradually merges into the venter. This is the neck. It will gradually merge into the venter. Venter means this swollen portion of the archegonium. The venter contains upper small ventral canal cell and lower large egg cell. What does this venter contains? It contains two types of cells. The upper one is known as ventral canal cell or venter canal cell. It is small, and the lower one is known as egg cell, which is larger. Okay, so this was the structure of archegonium. Now let's see about the development of archegonium. How does it develop? It develops from a special kind of cell known as archegonial initial. This archegonial initial will undergo a transverse division and form an upper archegonial mother cell and a lower primary stalk cell. The lower primary stalk cell forms a massive stalk. Massive, or we can, as we have discussed, it will form a multicellular or several layered stalk. Okay. Now what will happen to the archegonial mother cell? This is the archegonial mother cell. Let us consider. It will divide. It will divide to form three peripheral cells. Here I have marked it as a dot. Three peripheral cell and one central. This is the central axial cell. Okay. Then what will happen? The three peripheral cell forms 2 to 3 layered jacket around the venter. Suppose this is the venter, the swollen portion. What will these three peripheral cells form? They will develop the jacket of the venter, and this jacket is 2 to 3 layered, unlike the enteroidal jacket which was single layered. Okay. Now what will happen to the axial cell? The axial cell will undergo transverse division. This is the axial cell. Suppose it will undergo a transverse division and it will form an outer apical cell, okay, and an inner central cell. The central cell forms the upper small ventral canal cell and the lower large egg cell. What will the central cell form? The central cell will divide and it will form the two cells of the venter, that is the upper small ventral canal cell and the lower large egg cell. But what will happen to this outer apical cell? The outer apical cell will form the long neck of the archegonium. Okay, so this was the development of archegonium. You can have a quick look upon this. Okay, now what we have formed? We have formed a male gamete and a female gamete. The male gamete is the biflagellate sperm and the female gamete is the egg. Now what will happen? The egg and the sperm will unite, will fuse to form a diploid structure known as oospore or zygote, and this process is known as fertilization. Okay, so let's see the features of fertilization. The sex organs dehisce in presence of water. Of course, the venter canal cell and the neck canal cells will dissolve to form mucilage. This mucilage exerts pressure and the neck opens out. The mucilage comes out of the neck. What will happen? This is the neck. Okay. In presence of water, the upper portion will open out. Okay. And the neck canal cells and ventral canal cells will dissolve and it will form a mucilage, and through that mucilage the sperms can enter and reach out the egg and it will fertilize to form a diploid oospore or zygote. Okay, now one of the sperms swims down the neck and reaches the base. It fuses with the egg to form oospore, and oospore is the first stage of sporophytic generation. Up till now we have been discussing about the gametophytic generation, but after reproduction with the formation of oospore, the diploid oospore or zygote, what begins? There is the beginning of sporophytic generation. Okay, so this was all about today's study. We have known about the reproduction of polytrichum. Okay, we have seen the types of reproduction, that is vegetative and sexual reproduction, then the structure and development of male and female reproductive organs, and the process of fertilization. I hope this video is helpful to you all, and if you like my video then please subscribe to my channel, and in the next video we will discuss about the sporophyte of polytrichum. And with this note, I would like to wish you all the best, and thank you for watching the video.